We mentioned earlier that we were talking about that gain of function. This is a little going back to what we were talking about earlier. That you'd said in that story that the U.S. made it illegal to do gain of function research. Is that right?
It was temporarily outlawed.
Oh, so it's legal again.
No, I think they shut it down recently.
But so then they were paying a company to fund it in China instead?
No, the money a grant was given to EcoHealth, and then EcoHealth gave the money to Wuhan.
So it's like we didn't, not our business.
Where
Someone
else are
said
they
it.
doing
Okay,
gain of
thanks.
function research that we're paying
Probably
for?
everywhere.
But we're not paying for it. We're paying someone else to pay for it for us with our money.
Right. As if, the other countries in the world can't also pay for this.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine how much of this stuff is going on at all times right now in any number of labs around the world.
Probably a lot. It's probably creepy. Like, I'm sure it's a lot worse than we realize, though. You know, you have this one lab in Wuhan where they're doing this research. Imagine what the U.S. government has under lock.
Area 51.
If they're going to be finding funding to different labs in other countries, imagine what they do when they actually have their hands on the project. You know what I mean?
When I heard about the story immediately, I thought maybe this is like a CIA black site type of thing.
Yeah.
Where they say, you know what, the really sketchy stuff, we're going to put it abroad.
Yeah.
We'll underwrite it.
That makes sense.
We'll put it abroad, the really sketchy stuff.
Right.
But it's exactly the opposite. You know, when you're dealing with sensitive things like this, it's not like, it's not like a CIA black site in Egypt where, a jihadi guy is getting his
balls chopped off.
Something's happening.
Sure, yeah.
Something's happening. But like, there's limited fallout from that compared to a Wuhan virus.
Play dangerous games, man.
Win dangerous prizes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, David, can we talk about your book for a minute?
Sure.
A minute? If you
I'll
guys-
hold it up.
Yeah, this is about Qatar. You said that there was a shadow. What's it called exactly?
It's Qatar's shadow war, the Islamist emirate, and its information operations in the United States.
So the first thing I thought was this is an American shadow war in Qatar, but you were saying there's actually, how do you say it? A Qataris? What's the word? Qatari. This is a Qatari shadow war, basically being waged upon the United States.
Well, in the United States, for their, let's say, in the media and government of the United States, for Qatar's advantage and for the advantage of Islamism. Kind of really short story is Qatar is the state sponsor of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Oh, wow. And they run Al Jazeera Plus.
They run Al Jazeera
that
Plus.
ultra woke network with billions of views on Facebook.
And they run a lot of other stuff too. I mean, they run, Brookings. The oldest and biggest think tank in the world.
Wow, yeah.
They run Brookings. I mean, to the extent that it's very creatively, described. So they will be big donors into Brookings, the U.S., but then they have a franchise. So they have Brookings Doha, which is, owned by the royal family of Qatar. That's in Qatar, and that's a black box of funding. I mean, they don't have to tell us what how much money comes in there. So they use that brand as legitimacy.
So what are they doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing to us?
So I mean, basically, they're doing a couple things. I argue that the Arab Spring that happened in, let's say, late 2010 up until 2011 was a project of the Qataris through Al Jazeera and the Brotherhood to destabilize the Middle East.
Really?
Al Jazeera was, let's say, the primary mover of a lot of those protests. And not only that, it was, between Al Jazeera and Brookings and all the other assets that Qatar had in the United States, it was able to convince journalists and politicians and influencers of other types that, these governments in the Middle East that, have supported us and we've supported for all these years, we should not support, Mubarak. We should support, the revolution against him, let's say in Egypt. And the same thing in Libya. The Libya war was a total Al Jazeera Qatari production.
I mean, Hillary Clinton really wanted that.
Yes. What did she say, though?
We came, we saw, he died.
No, she said, look at this. She was in the front of the Senate, and she went on and on about how wonderful Al Jazeera coverage is.
Oh.
She said, her quote was, "That is real news."
But was it because they were supporting what she wanted?
Yes. So there was an alignment there. What I believe she wanted there was, and what the whole Obama crowd wanted with Libya was, they wanted to go in. They wanted an opportunity. They saw what was on Al Jazeera. They saw the whole Arab world lining up against Gaddafi, and they thought, okay, Bush is gone. We want to start a new leaf. We made the Cairo speech. We want to be good to Muslims. We want to do something to make the Muslim world like us. All they care about is getting rid of Gaddafi. We're going to get rid of Gaddafi, and and we're going to show them that
destabilize the
we're
entire
good.
Northern African region.
Destabilize everything, right?
Yeah.
So all of the information for this came from Al Jazeera. It came from sort of Qatari influence operators.
But I wonder if they were just doing what we want. They're just doing what Hillary Clinton and Obama, what they wanted in North Africa. I mean, especially when you look at Syria with the Qatar-Turkey pipeline. Sure, it would have been very beneficial to Qatar, but the U.S. wanted to run a pipeline up through Syria and Turkey into Europe to offset the monopoly coming from Gazprom through Ukraine, and Qatar was like, we'll make money doing it, I guess. So let's just say what they want, say what America wants. America gives us stuff, we're going to make money in the deal. So report what's good for them.
Yeah, I think it's I think they're dumber than that. I honestly,
they seem to be successful for somebody dumb.
Yeah, I legit think that they're more ideological than that. I mean, it's a mix, right? It's a mix. I mean, there's plenty of. I mean, the Libya thing is a great example because you've got Sidney Blumenthal, ready to make millions in there. There are a lot of shady stuff as far as politicians or people connected to politicians involved in that who are standing to make money off, let's say, post-war Libya. But still, regardless, there's a story that needs to be told in public for anything to happen. You're talking about the Syria thing.
Right.
People need a public narrative. People needed a public narrative
just don't
for
care.
Libya too.
Regular Americans, man, it's maddening. When I try and have sit-down conversations, and they just don't care, and I'm like, you're giving your money and your vote to people who hate you and are destroying the planet, and they're like,
Now, do you think they always didn't care?
Yes. That's effective propagandizing, and when you look at these schools, how they're doing critical race theory, which is making a lot of these kids just, I mean, what was that report that came out? Like the U.S. is failing. Fourth graders are proficiency in science like 20% or some ridiculously low number because they don't know anything. Critical race theory, deconstructivism, whatever you want to call it, what they're doing, deconstruction. These kids are going to be dumb as a box of rocks when they're older.
Sure.
And you're going to have a very, very loyal base of dumb people voting for whatever you tell them to vote for. What's the point of running a country? What's the point of anything they're doing? That's why I say they're extracting value from the system and watching it burn to the ground. Because if your kids are going to be dumb, when you die, you'll have dumb people running the country worse than the dumb people running it now. So I think we're screwed with that. They go for the kids. They teach them things like 2 + 2 = 5. You saw this stuff right on Twitter. Why would you teach a kid 2 + 2 = 5? So they're too stupid to build to construct like a doorknob. Oh, I got 2 pieces. But how do I have 4 doorknobs? It's like,
right.
You've got 1 doorknob.
On the same token, you've got the coddling of the American mind. It was like, what is it? Jonathan Haidt? Yeah. Who wrote that that this whole thing, all of wokeness could be understood to be a, like, how do you make someone crazy? How do you make someone crazy? How do you make someone antisocial? Yep. How do you make someone unable to relate to, to others?
And that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then they're creating a pitchfork mob. That's what it is on Twitter. They're just people marching around with torches and pitchforks looking for something because they're angry. And rhyme or reason.
Talk about wearing masks and being afraid of that someone else is infected with a virus, making people antisocial, especially like young kids that can't see faces. You're forced to cover yourself.
I mean, but specifically in reference to educating kids and educating them in ways that make no sense.
It's a wonderful
2 + 2
coincidence.
= 5 is the big one. Telling people, altering the history of the United States. Now what you're going to have is you're going to have some kids growing up learning about ridiculous fake history and other kids learning different history. And what's the result? Civil War.
Yeah.
Two people.
We have other options.
Peaceful
I mean,
divorce.
civil war is. We even have things that we need to do before a peaceful divorce, which is a piece that I wrote that I'm still preparing. It's a longer thing called Autonomy, which talks about the need for, let's say, Red America to create the things that, frankly, we don't have.
Like
Financial institutions, like social media networks.
I
think
this is a problem. The problem is that the cult infiltrated and took them over, and then conservatives are like, well, I'll go make my own. It's like, well, you had one. They took it from you.
Well, they may have taken some businesses, but like they didn't. When people say, let's take back the culture, we never had the culture. The culture was always in the hands of
the Federal Reserve, organizations.
No, it's in the hands of the left, not the Federal Reserve.
Well,
right.
That's the left.
But no, I mean, I think we need autonomy. We need to be making our own things, and I mean, doing what you're doing.
It's true, and here's what I think is going to happen. In 20 years, you're going to have a large amount, half the population, are going to believe the United States was founded in 1619 as a slaveocracy.
Sure.
And then you're going to have another half that thinks the country was founded in 1776 as a classical liberal revolution of the mind, from the colonists. If you can't agree on what your country is, then you can't function. And we're already at the point where, I look at Chuck Schumer and the January 6th Commission. These people are evil, evil people. It's funny because you can look at objective reality. Look at all of the videos. I watched as many videos from January 6th as much as I could. And I can tell you that there were some people who were very violent. It was a riot. And there were some people that were let in by the police, and the police agreed to work with them. The police opened the door for many of these people. So how do I know it's more likely to be true that's the case? I watched all of the videos, and I've had the reporters who were there on the ground interviewed on this show. And what the Democrats are saying is psychotic. It is deception. It is lies. And the Democratic voters buy it all up without ever having looked at any of the evidence, without ever having watched anything. They are mindless drones, and they're advocating for fascism. And I mean it. And I mean,
they've already put these things in place. I mean, they've already retooled. There's a great thread that I'll find. I'll sort of retweet it about all the things that the let's say the national security state, Homeland Security state, has done to address the January 6th issue, and it's a revolution. I mean, they're retooling everything from.
They're flying Black Lives Matter flags at our embassies.
Yeah,
that's it. There is a cold civil war. It's been going on for years. I did not coin the phrase. It was a Princeton professor who did. He's a Democrat, and they won. Now it's the resistance. Most of the prominent, we'll call them belligerents in the traditional war sense, have been purged from the culture war.
Sure.
Alex Jones, Milo,
John
Laura
F.
Loomer.
Kennedy, Martin Luther King. I mean, this has been going on for a long time, dude. This cold civil war. This country was co-opted in 1946.
Talking specifically about what's going on right now.
You're talking about modern day, I get it.
A bunch of people have been banned and removed from the fight outright. What's left are moderate types that are like, I reject. And that's it. And we watch as the embassies fly the flag of a cult ideology.
I think this has been going on for a long time.
So you see it, I see it. What fascinates me now are the people who refuse to see it. And I just wrote a piece at The American Mind, which is a fantastic website, about sort of disengaging with these people on politics. It's like if you have a fundamental disagreement about where you see these things going, like if you think that we'll be able to snap back into 1980 or 2004, then you know what? Maybe we don't talk about politics. We'll talk about music. We're just not going to go there because this to me seems like such a no-brainer. I mean, you had today. I saw a guy who was a kind of more nice guy, but a kind of more establishment conservative writer. He says, you know what? We can't, between CRT on one hand and let's say the conservative vision of education of the founding on the other, we have no disagreement. We have no agreement. So we can't really have public education anymore because it doesn't have a unifying ethos. I'm like, okay, you got it. Apply that to the rest of the country.
So if conservatives aren't actively trying to educate people as to what's going on, then the left just wins and it's over. Mm-hmm. And it's already hard enough with the cultural institutions controlled by the left and the constant stream of lies. The big lie from Democrats about January 6th is just one big lie. They don't want you to know that the police opened the door. They don't want you to know that the doors were opened by the cops, and they don't want you to watch the video where that Q shaman walks up to a cop and the cop says, "We're going to work with you, be peaceful." And he goes, "You got it, buddy." And they don't tell you. They don't want you to know that a story came out about the Q shaman stopping other people from stealing from the break room. That he was saying we were going to have a peaceful protest. No, they want him to rot in solitary confinement. Then you watch as police over the past year. This is the problem with conservatives. Police over the past year have been arresting people for minor violations on like wearing masks. There's no law. There was never a law when they shut these people's business down. It was an edict. A governor said, right. "I say it, and it is so." And the cop went, "You got it," and then started beating and arresting random people. And the conservatives went, "Back the blue, baby." Now, once it started getting extreme, conservatives actually started backing away from the police and pushing back against them. But it's starting to come back. I'm seeing more and more conservatives start defending the cops again. And I'm like, bro, there's a lady in Florida. Elizabeth City, North Carolina. She was driving 1 mile an hour through a crowd of Black Lives Matter people who were banging on her car, and they're charging her with 2 felony counts. The police did that. Okay, your institutions are controlled by the cult. The cops that are there right now are the mindless drones who would beat their own mother if their boss told them to do it. You've got Black Lives Matter flags flying at the embassies. You've got the FBI posting photos of people saying, "We're going to get each and every one of these guys." Nothing happens to Black Lives Matter. Some things do. Do you know how there's a really interesting pattern that emerges. The people who were protesting for Black Lives Matter and rioting, the ones who were rioting and they got arrested. Do you know why those particular individuals got arrested? It's usually like they threw a brick at a police department. They attacked a government building specifically. But when it comes to the burning down of businesses, those people are free to go. The guy who died in the pawn shop that burned down in Minneapolis, no, we're not going to worry about that at all. Oh, but what was that? That Bubba dude from NASCAR, the garage pull up looked like a noose. Better send in a dozen agents.
Right. So this is definitional anarcho-tyranny.
Yes.
Exactly. It is what it is. You know, these...
well, maybe, but no, I think I think the cult is in control. And I think conservatives...
Sure. I mean, you can say...
Don't fight.
Well, right. So you can say that, you know, in many ways, BLM, Antifa are agents of the state.
They are absolutely agents of the state.
And if you fall outside that, you're on the right, you're
that's exactly how it works.
Then
I can
then
sit
you get
here
screwed, and the hammer comes down. But a mythology has to be created in order for this thing to hold. A mythology has to be created about our unique, particular evil, which is what January 6th is.
Right.
Which is and the commission is this is the idea. What we're going to do now is we're going to spend the next X number of months to keep hammering home every day that why these guys are uniquely evil, why this is the enemy that you need to hate if you are a good American.
Yep. And Republicans sided with Democrats on this one in the House and in the Senate.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's shameful. It's shameful that I mean, forget about Trump, right? This is not even about Trump. It's about sort of like baseline political warfare, baseline awareness of where we are in the movie. This is clearly what they're trying to do. They're trying to create and to they're trying to create this phantom enemy.
If this is a trilogy, we just wrapped up the middle. The second movie where it ends with a cliffhanger where the heroes lose. No, the Two Towers ended with them smashing up Isengard. That was awesome. Treebeard, he's like, "We're going to war," and I'm like, "Yeah." No, it's more like maybe Star Wars, where in Empire it's like Han's frozen and like the Empire's back, and they're like, "Oh no," and it's like, "Stay tuned to the next movie." So it's like you get the start of the culture war. And it ends with the great victory of Donald Trump. And everyone's like, yeah. Then you get part 2, and it's Donald Trump's presidency. But then, oh no, the Empire strikes back. And now we're sitting there with the mega Death Star with the force field on it. And we'll see how it goes. Maybe someone will pick up the Emperor and throw him down a shaft.
Or maybe we're really early in the movie.
So it's part 1.
That's what I was thinking. Really, or even in the prequels.
In the prequels?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, it's that bad, right?
I don't know. Like in the Star Wars prequels, there was turmoil, but it was still like the Republic existed.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.